we know, folks, that many people at the rally had eyes on the shooter before the shots were fired. We're going to get into some of the witness testimonies to the press on scene in our next segment. But before we get into that, I do want to establish the fact that people in the crowd saw the shooter on the roof before he started shooting, so much so that TMZ obtained this footage of people noticing him on the roof of this building before shots rang out. You see him right there, screaming. There the shots go.
I hope he's turning this way. Be careful, guys.
He's down. Okay, so you saw there. Now, they're turning the camera on after they notice something's up, which means they noticed even before that. So these are some people in the crowd. That's the angle from which he starts firing. Now, if we look at the other side, here are the Secret Service guys on top of a building near the stage.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
So you see the shots fired there, and then they fire back from the building. But as you can see, they see him.
Right.
The Secret Service here on this building near the stage sees the shooter. They obviously have him in his sights. Look,
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Bang, bang, and now he's firing. So if you look at how that happened, and now you look at the map of the grounds. Now, this is, to me, the most damning detail, is that you see the orange dot there where Trump is on the stage. You see the blue dot there, the Secret Service guy who we just saw in that previous shot. That's him right there. So that's right near where Trump was. Pretty easy to see that layout. And then the shooter is on a building 137 meters away from Trump, 134 meters away from where the Secret Service was set up. How is it, given this layout, that not only should you have eyes on that building at all times, you should have people on that building?
Of course.
How are there no Secret Service people on that building, especially when you look at the way that building is set up? It's some, what is it, a glass plant or something? I forget exactly what the name of the business was, but it's a complex of buildings, which means there's multiple ways on and off of them, and there's ways to get from building to building. So here NBC News publishes the map. You can see there are a bunch of buildings right next to each other. That is the New York Times photo. How do you not have a Secret Service guy on the roof of that building? Forget about looking at that building before you even talk about drones or helicopters. Why aren't there boots on the roof of that building? That building has a clear, unobstructed shot of the presidential candidate who's on stage not all that far away. There's no barrier in between. There's no bulletproof glass protecting Donald Trump. You know, at the inauguration speeches, they have the bulletproof glass where the president comes and speaks so that he can't be hit should, God forbid, anybody fire a shot from underneath. There's nothing like that. And you have this complex of buildings within eyeshot of the president, and the only personnel you have guarding him are on this building here, right next to him, where that blue dot is. There's nobody on those buildings across the way. Forget about drones, helicopters. I mean, yeah, that should have been used as well, but there should be people there. It's the most obvious thing in the world. There should be people there. When you went to the rally at St. Mary's Park, you had metal detectors on the way in, I assume. And then, I'm sorry, but, go ahead.
Yeah, so there were metal detectors, and where you had to clear those metal detectors, outside of that, you had no view of that stage.
There was no way to get up on a roof and see
until
it.
you got past that, and then you had to go over a hill to see the stage. Then behind the stage, there was an outer road and an open field, and they had that covered. They had the road shut down.
Yep.
They had that field closed off. So the idea, I mean, this is 101. This is what they're trained for. Even as laymen, even as civilians, just looking at this, it's common sense. If I had to plan security for this, knowing nothing, I would say, okay, well, we have to get that roof covered. Look at it. It's got a clear line of sight to the candidate. How do you not have people covering that?
Not only would that prevent anyone from getting up there and getting a shot off, but also you have a good view of the crowd from there. So if anything is going to happen from the crowd, you have eyes on the crowd.
Right.
How could you not? It's not like it is in the middle of a city where, Washington Square Park is surrounded by 50 buildings, all of which could conceivably put someone on a rooftop. And all right, we don't have 300 people to put on every building. This is a rural area. There's only 5 or 6 buildings around. You can't have Secret Service on every one of them.
In a situation like that, again, I mean, we're not trained experts. It's my understanding they're very thorough about things like this. You have spotters with binoculars scanning the area when you have a candidate like that, when you have a high value target like that. So the idea, and hey, we know we're going to play the videos. You have witnesses who say they were telling them this guy's there. So that, again, we're in East Berlin. I want to be careful, but it seems like the media is already trying to cover this up, but I don't think it's going to be possible. There's just too many witnesses to what happened here. I think they're going to try to bury it until they can't.
Yeah. That is certainly a strong possibility. It's just, it doesn't look, there are failures of security that happen, but this seems like a failure, and by design is a loaded way of saying it. I'll say of design. It's a failure of design, failure of preparation. How do you not, this is not a chaotic situation broke out, we did the best we could in a moment, and mistakes were made. That's understandable. This is, how do you explain the fact that there were no people on that roof to patrol the crowd underneath and to obviously secure that roof and that network of office buildings, whatever they were? How do you explain that? There's no good explanation for that. There really is no good explanation for that. And, these are all things where these are all points that need to be investigated by, someone other than the people who are, going to be trusted to investigate themselves. This is why the Republicans having the House means that they will probably do their own investigation of this, which is warranted. That's all you can say for sure at this point. You can't put the dots together at this point, but you could say there's enough here that warrants a closer look. And because the Republicans have the House, they have promised their own congressional investigation of the Secret Service. And this isn't the first time you're going to see this map. This is going to be there. And the question is going to have to be asked, why was no one on that roof? Why were no Secret Service people on that roof where the red dot is?
Please clap.